Well, it's been a while since I've seen some of you all. It's been the open week was a good open week. We had a chance to do some self-scouting and evaluating and get some guys back healthy and really working on us, because that's what's important is us. You know, it's not about the opponent, it's about how well we play. And so we had a great week of practice last week. Coaches got out on the road last weekend to do some recruiting in Louisiana, of course, Mississippi junior colleges, as well as high schools, and as well as Texas junior colleges and high schools. And so we came back this weekend and got back together, and we started rocking and rolling Sunday night. So we're getting ready. Again, we go out today, business as usual, preparing for a big game this week. It's no secret. We're playing Jackson State here at home, and so it's going to be an exciting time here on the Bluff, and we're looking forward to the opportunity.
Coach, what's the status of Herman Bristol and Jalen Lewis? Do you expect to have them on Saturday?
Herman, Trey will be back. Trey's been practicing. We knew we'd probably have him back. Jalen is still going through the protocol. Even though he's got cleared, there's a return to play protocol that you have to follow, and so he's going through that.
Coach, what did you make of Ashton's performance in California when he got put in?
I thought he played well. I thought he, to a guy that got here 8 days before school started, and he's still learning the offensive scheme. He's a sharp young man. He's attentive. He pays attention to detail. He got in a situation like that, and it wasn't too big for him. He moved the offense right down the field, and we scored. And so he brought some energy to the team. He brought some energy, some life. He missed some throws and things of that nature, but that's to be expected. And so, but he played well, considering that he was thrown into the fire at that time.
What did you make of the coaching changes with Coach McNair calling the plays, at Fresno, and all the changes that happened that week? What did you make of it?
Well, I thought they were productive. I thought it was good. That staff, our offensive staff, as well as our defensive staff, they work together. They collab. They work together. They're not egotistical. Of course, you got to have an ego to coach and play this game, but they're not egotistical, and so they work well together. And so, Coach is a veteran. He's a former head coach, championship head coach. So it bodes well for what we're trying to do going forward.
Would you say the bye week was perfect timing heading into conference play, especially against Jackson State?
I wouldn't say perfect timing. It's early and it helps because when you got guys banged up, it helps. But it gives you a chance to get some guys back. But then it also gives you a chance. You don't have to rush. We like to do a self-scout. So after so many games in the season, and so to be able to get 4 games in and then go back and cut it open and dissect it and look at, hey, okay, this is good, this is not good, and I tell them all the time, I say, what we do well, let's do well. What we don't do well, let's find out why we don't do it well, and then if we don't do it well and we can't do it well, then let's get rid of it and do something else. So that gave us an opportunity to do that. So it helped us. Going forward this week.
How big of an opportunity is it to set the tone right for swag play, especially when you're playing against this team, considering that they've gotten the best of you all the last few years?
Well, it's huge. It's huge. When you get to play, when you get to play Jackson on campus, and you opening up swag play, it's huge. The rivalry, the whole nine that goes with the game. It makes it here, on campus in Montford. So it makes it a great atmosphere. It's huge. It's huge in the standpoint of the excitement of the game and all that. But at the end of the day, we got to play the game. You can't get caught up into the fanfare and all that other stuff. We got to go out and play well.
What do you feel like was the main issue in those last few games against them?
Turnovers. Plain and simple. You go back to the championship game. It's 10-10 at halftime. And then you come out second half and we turn the ball over 4 times and the wheel comes off the wagon. And I say it all the time. Y'all hear me say it all the time. It's tough to beat an average team with turnovers. It's almost impossible to beat a good team with turnovers. And so that's the thing that we've emphasized. And I was proud of our guys is because we had 7 in the first 3 games, and we didn't have any against Fresno. So the guys are paying attention to detail. We really stress and emphasize ball security, taking the ball away. We've done a lot of tackling drills, changing stuff up. And then I've kind of switch our practice routine around. You know, you got to look at things and find out what works. So instead of doing things at the beginning of practice, we kind of move them around because we want to see how well they do those things when they're tired or fatigued or what have you. So now you got to put a bigger emphasis on it. And those guys did that. And so, you know, we had a turnover against Fresno, which was good. Probably should have had a couple more, but just to not turn it over and to get a turnover, that was always positive and good. So that's the thing. Turnovers. We can't have turnovers. We can't shoot ourselves in the foot with those turnovers.
A lot of these guys have been here for a while now. They know the magnitude of this game, the pageantry of it, the emotions of it. How do you, as a coach, kind of keep them locked into what's most important in the, just the play on the field, not all the other stuff?
Well, I tell them all the time to block out all the noise. You got to block out the noise, and you got to focus and play on the game. All we've been talking about is mindset, attitude, and execution. Point blank period. Mindset, attitude, and execution. If you do that, then you increase your chances of winning. That's the thing is, the rival is what it is. The atmosphere is going to be what it's going to be. Now, how well, when you have the right mindset, when you have the right attitude, and how well you execute, that's going to be the deciding factor, how well we play.
Have you decided on a starting quarterback? And if not, I guess what will help with that decision?
Oh, how well they practice this week. And then we'll make the decision towards the end of the week. So we're not I'm not opposed to playing multiple quarterbacks, this day and time. I know a lot of people want to play. I was listening to TC say yesterday, they was asking him, he had a quarterback problem. He said, no, I don't have a quarterback problem. I got 2 good quarterbacks. And that's the same thing. I said, you got 2 good quarterbacks, can't be afraid to play them. So, perfect world, you want to have one guy to go out there, but then in the real world, if you got athletes, you need to use your athletes and increase your chances of winning.
What sticks out to you the most about the Jackson team, personnel-wise?
Big talented, speed, athletic. They get after you. TC and that staff does a good job of preparing those guys. Those guys are well coached. They want to confuse you a lot on defense. And there's no secret of what he's trying to do. He says it. He wants to control the clock. He wants to run the football first. And then, of course, he wants to be explosive when they can take their shots or what have you. And that's the mindset, controlling the clock and playing complementary football. And most times you don't hit that from an offensive guy. You usually hit that from defensive guys. And so that's what they want to do. And when you watch them on film, that's what they do. They try to be balanced in what they do offense and defensively. And so, and then they're explosive in the kicking game. So you gotta make sure that you win the hitting yardage game as well.
Kind of going off that thing about that control of the clock. You got to challenge, I guess, your edge guys and your linebackers a lot more with how deep their running back room is.
No, not really. The thing is, they just got to play. It's not about challenging that. There's no secret. If you're gonna win, the game's gonna be won up front. If you're gonna win up front, you got your O-line, D-line, those guys, your front 7. Those guys are going to have to play well. So it's not so much a challenge. And the challenge is how hard and how fast can we play at a high level of execution. That's the challenge. Can we play hard, fast, and can we execute what we're calling and making a play? So, it's not anything like, hey, you got to be this, and you got to put on this cape, or you got to put on this. No, you just got to go out there, you got to play hard and fast, and you got to execute.
Looking at Quincy Ivory, pops out on the defensive film. How do you stop a guy like that?
Well, your goal is not to stop him. We got a guy on our side that's, you can't stop either, and that's Mr. Gibbons. So what you do is you do things schematically. You attack him. The thing that you don't do is you don't run away from him all the time because a lot of times that's counterproductive. So what you have to do, you have to be smart and strategic, and you have to, do things in a way that kind of put him in conflict. He does a great job, fine football player. But, you don't ever stop a great football player. You try to contain them and keep them from having a great impact on the game.
Is there a little extra excitement because this is a SWAC championship rematch between you guys?
No, we live in the precious present. So, you know, it's here. It's Southern and Jackson State, whether it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, or however long, it's a rivalry game. So, you know, we're not caught up into the championship game. That's behind us. You know, we're in the here and now, so we're focusing on this game because we can't do anything about the championship game. That game's been played, it's been recorded, so all we can do now is we gotta live in the precious present and focus on this game.
What are you looking to see out of your receivers and your tight ends this week with, the offense, the changes that have been happening lately?
Well, I hope, those guys did well against Fresno. Guys played with a lot of confidence, caught the ball well, made people miss. And so we're looking, to get them involved more, to see more explosives. And explosives are, sometimes you got to make a guy miss. And so, and we got guys that can do that. And so I'm excited and we're looking forward to seeing those guys get out there and compete. Because again, when they played the last game, the thing I say about our team is we didn't quit. We didn't quit at all. And that was something that pleased me more than anything because our guys fought. And so to see that fight in them and see the excitement and the energy, that makes you feel good going forward.
Was there any moment, I guess, during the bye week or so far in practice that I guess sticks with you in terms of either something the player said or something that you saw during practice?
Thursday was, and I'm glad you asked that question. Thursday was what we call, we had a leadership practice because coaches are on the road recruiting. And so, of course, it was myself and my GAs and student assistants. But primarily the leaders on the team, they have to lead practice because, most coaches are gone on the road. And those guys didn't miss a beat. Did not miss a beat. I mean, from the time they came out the locker room, from the time they flexed, they ran drills. And I teased the coaches. I told them, I said, hey, those guys went out there full tilt. And those young coaches, the offensive GA was the offensive coordinator, defensive GA was the defensive coordinator, and those guys got after it. And so to see those guys go out and take advantage of an opportunity to go out and get better as opposed to saying, well, my coach is not here, I can kind of relax. It was good to see that those guys were on the same page and they want to work to get better. So that was definitely positive to see that.
Thank you, Brady.